As they entered the village, the group was greeted by the sight of people going about their daily lives. Children played in the streets, while adults tended to their businesses or worked in the fields. The air was filled with the sound of chatter and the smells of cooking food. Oliver, the elder of the group, took in the scene with a sense of familiarity. He had traveled to many villages like this before, and yet each one held its own unique charm. He observed the way the villagers interacted with each other, noticing the subtle differences in their dialects and customs. Lily, on the other hand, appeared nervous but excited. This was her first time back in her hometown since she left to pursue her dreams in the city. She felt a mix of emotions as memories flooded back to her. She remembered the games she used to play with her childhood friends, the stories her grandmother used to tell her, and the comfort of her mother's embrace. Marcy looked around with wide-eyed wonder, taking in everything around her with the fascination of a child. She marveled at the colorful stalls of the marketplace, the intricately designed buildings, and the unique fashion of the locals. Everything seemed so new and exciting to her. As they made their way through the bustling streets, Oliver pointed out various landmarks and gave them snippets of local history. Lily showed them the house where she grew up and the school she attended as a child. Marcy eagerly listened to their stories, eager to learn more about this new place. Despite their different perspectives, the group shared a sense of wonder and curiosity as they explored this new place together. The village may have been familiar to some, but the experience of discovering it anew through the eyes of their companions was something altogether special. Lily led the way, her familiarity with the village evident as she navigated the narrow streets with ease. As they walked, Oliver confided in Marcy, telling her about Lily's situation. He explained that Lily had been estranged from her family for years after marrying a man her family did not approve of. Lily's husband had recently passed away, and she was now attempting to reconnect with her family and make amends. As they followed Lily through the winding streets, the sun began to set, casting a warm orange glow across the village. The sounds of children playing and adults chatting faded into the background as Oliver leaned in to whisper his story to Marcy. Marcy's heart swelled with sympathy for Lily. She had always admired Lily's strength and independence, but now she saw a new layer of vulnerability beneath the surface. Marcy couldn't imagine the pain of being estranged from one's own family, and her heart ached for Lily's situation. Meanwhile, Oliver's voice shook slightly as he spoke, betraying the depth of his concern for Lily's well-being. Despite his gruff exterior, Marcy knew that Oliver had a heart of gold, and she could see the genuine care he had for Lily in his eyes. As they approached Lily's family's inn, Marcy noticed that Lily's steps slowed slightly. Although Lily's face remained stoic, Marcy could sense a nervous energy radiating from her. Marcy reached out and squeezed Lily's arm in silent support, and Lily shot her a grateful smile. As they entered the inn, Lily's family rushed to greet them, enveloping Lily in warm embraces. Marcy watched with a lump in her throat as Lily reunited with her loved ones, tears streaming down her face. In that moment, Marcy realized that this trip wasn't just about the adventure or the challenge of the journey, it was about the human connections they were forging along the way. She felt a renewed sense of purpose and gratitude for the bonds of family and friendship that held them all together. And she knew that they would emerge from this journey stronger and closer than ever before. As they entered the room, Marcy's father's unease was palpable. The inn was small and rustic, with rough-hewn wooden walls and creaky floorboards. The beds were simple but clean, with thin sheets and scratchy blankets. Marcy's father sat down heavily on the bed, his shoulders hunched and his eyes darting around the room. "What's wrong, Dad?" Marcy asked, noticing the tension in his body. "I'm not sure," he replied, his voice low. "Something just doesn't feel right about this place." Marcy couldn't help but feel a little annoyed with her father's persistent unease, but she also knew that he had a good sense for trouble. She scanned the room, searching for anything out of the ordinary. The curtains hung crookedly on the window, the dresser was chipped and worn, and there was a faint musty smell in the air. But nothing seemed immediately alarming. "Maybe you're just tired from the journey," Marcy suggested, hoping to put her father's mind at ease. He nodded slowly, but Marcy could tell he wasn't convinced. As they settled into their beds, she made a mental note to keep an eye out for anything suspicious. The creaks and groans of the old inn filled the air, and Marcy felt a twinge of apprehension. She tried to push it aside and focus on getting some rest, but the feeling of unease lingered. The sun shone down on the small village, casting a warm and welcoming glow on the colorful market stalls that lined the narrow streets. The smells of exotic spices and sizzling street food wafted through the air, tempting the group as they made their way through the crowds. Oliver's eyes lit up as he sampled a particularly spicy dish, while Lily eagerly chatted with a group of locals about their families and the village's history. As they wandered through the market, Marcy couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. Every conversation she had with the villagers seemed to circle back to the same topic: people were vanishing. Her father's earlier unease had now turned into a deep concern, and she could see the same worry etched on Lily's face. Despite their reservations, they decided to explore the area further and set off on a hike to a nearby waterfall. The sound of rushing water and the lush greenery of the forest provided a much-needed escape from the worries of the village. However, as they made their way back, they stumbled upon a small shrine tucked away in the woods. Marcy's heart raced as she noticed a pile of fresh flowers and a candle burning in front of the shrine, evidence that someone had been there recently. As they returned to the village, they knew they couldn't ignore the villagers' concerns any longer. Oliver and Lily joined Marcy and her father as they sought out the village elder for answers. They found the elder sitting on a simple wooden chair outside his home, surrounded by the warm glow of the setting sun. His weathered face was etched with lines of worry and fatigue, and his eyes were sad as he listened to their concerns. "It is true," he said softly. "Bandits have been terrorizing our village for months now, stealing food and valuables, and taking our people captive. We have been too afraid to fight back, and we have no one to turn to for help." Marcy and her group knew they had to do something. They couldn't sit idly by while their new friends were being terrorized by bandits. With Oliver's expertise in martial arts and Marcy's quick thinking, they discussed a plan with the village elder to capture the bandits and rescue the missing villagers. The elder provided them with descriptions of the bandits, including the leader, a tall and muscular man with a scar over his left eye. Marcy and her group huddled together, brainstorming ideas on how to lure the bandits out of hiding. After much discussion, Marcy had an epiphany. "We should create a festival," she exclaimed. Oliver's eyes widened. "A festival? How is that going to work?" "We'll make it so grand that the bandits can't resist joining in. They'll let their guard down, and that's when we'll strike," Marcy explained. The group went to the elder with their plan, and he nodded in agreement. "I will send word to the other villages to spread the word of our festival." The group was undeterred by the looming danger and sprang into action, determined to create a celebration that would draw the bandits out of hiding. The villagers, eager to contribute to the festival preparations, joined in with enthusiasm. They strung up vibrant banners and ribbons, creating a colorful canopy above the village square that swayed gently in the breeze. The sound of hammers echoed through the village as the group worked tirelessly to construct makeshift stages and stalls, while the scent of freshly cooked food wafted through the air. Despite the tension of the impending showdown, the mood was buoyant and joyous. The group played music and danced together, their laughter ringing out through the village as they practiced their performances, each one determined to make the festival a success. Even the children joined in, their faces painted in bright colors as they paraded through the village, adding to the festive atmosphere. As the festival drew nearer, the excitement grew, and the villagers worked even harder, perfecting their dishes and their performances. The sense of unity and purpose was palpable, as the group worked towards a common goal. They were driven by their determination to rescue their fellow villagers and bring an end to the bandits' reign of terror, and they were willing to do whatever it took to succeed.